Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 41 of the podcast for all your martial arts, mixed martial arts, health, fitness, and motivational needs, known as the Yin and the Yang. And ladies and gentlemen, as always, I am the residential lifelong martial artist, also known as the Yin of the show, Anthony Chu, a.k.a. Chuzilla, the ultimate thriller, all muscle, no filler. And today's episode, ladies and gentlemen, trust me, if you are a fight fan or if you are a martial art person, you may want to hear this because there's a lot going on in the fight world. And we're going to cover all that right now. At the same time, ladies and gentlemen, we got a little bit of a revamping of our backstage production crew, and we'll introduce those guys later. And at the same time, to join me in this, of course, Q&A and a whole lot more going on, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, to join me in this excellent adventure, to enlighten the Yin and Yang listeners, I introduce you to the co-host of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please all rise and show your respects to the boss. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he is the heart-burning, head-turning, the mastermind discerning. And ladies and gentlemen, he is the money-making, earning owner, guru, and the boss of the More of the Same network.
Stiff upper lip.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Larry the Boss Mormon.
Oh, it's good to be back. We took a week off. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Yin and the Yang, presented here by the More of the Same family of podcasts. And Anthony, it's good to be back here. I think we are going to be doing some good stuff here in the future. And we had a little bit of a powwow, if you will. And we're looking bigger and better. We're looking to new horizons.
It is certainly absolutely back. Great to be back in the saddle, blazing saddles, if it's what you want to call it.
Blazing saddles.
Allow me to say this. We had a very good production meeting.
A laurel and hearty handshake. No, okay.
Well,
Blazing saddles.
It's interesting. They will never be able to make a movie like that ever again because
the sheriff's a neat.
Well, let's put it this way. All I can say to you is that if they made Blazing Saddles today, the amount of insane complaints, because we live in such a world now where every little thing is offensive to somebody.
Fantastic. The movie was amazing. And it was written by Richard Pryor, co-written by Richard Pryor. So, but
and another
just, so
any
good.
Mel Brooks production is a great production.
95% of them, yeah.
You didn't like Blazing Saddles is good. The History of the World,
good, but Dracula, Dead and Loving It.
Life Stinks is one of my favorites.
Would you consider that one of his? Because that seems to be kind of like almost like more of a mainstream movie than some of his comedies have been.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really.
But the man was in it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
My
Robin
favorite, Hood, Men in Tights.
That is a classic. That is my number 2 Mel Brooks movie of all time. Of course, number 1 being Spaceballs.
I've actually met the man.
Yes, you have. I'm very jealous.
And very cool guy. His publicist was a complete bitch, but meaning his assistant publicist, whatever the hell she is, was a complete bitch. But you know what? She realized that the man wanted to take his time out to talk to me, and he was a great guy. And I mean, hey, I can say that I've met several legends in my life. I would say to you that Mel Brooks is definitely one of them. Dan Rather is another one.
Really?
Yeah, met Dan Rather on the grind. He was a really cool dude, really cool.
Good.
And the third one, I would say to you, legendary in every way, would be Eli Wallach, who played Tuco in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I met him back in the day, back in like 2005, 2006. When I met him, very, very few times in my life would I ever be awestruck with a celebrity. Not even when I met Pierce Brosnan, Jamie Foxx, Franco Harris. I met a lot of people in my life. And I would say to you that when I met Eli Wallach, I was awestruck. Like literally, I looked like a guy who was about to have a heart attack because I was so I didn't know what to say to him. I mumbled and I just basically he sounds like Tuco.
Real? Well, he should.
Movie. He sounds exactly like Tuco. Like it's like literally I'm talking to Tuco and not Eli Wallach. And he was just a great guy. Took pictures with me. He signed my Good, the Bad, and the Ugly DVD.
Cool. Very cool.
In which I was just in awe meeting this man. I mean, I've never been starstruck like that. That was one of the very few times.
Okay. Very cool. That's that's a really neat privilege to be able to meet people. I've gotten awestruck as well, especially like when I met guys like Hulk Hogan, and I guess Hogan's really was my biggest one where I fumbled about him, and probably trying to think who else I've kind of goofed up with. I'm sure one of the divas at some point, the old school divas.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, with the stature that we have nowadays, I mean, we're going around meeting celebs. Actually, technically speaking, I was thinking about this, Larry. I really think that the celebrities are meeting us.
You think? At this point?
Yeah. At this point, I believe so. Because, I mean, another Yin and Yang production, anti-USW production, powered by the More of the Same network. Hey, look, we get around. We get to see people. We get to meet.
See people.
So we get to see, well, as long as we don't see dead people, we're fine. Right? But, I mean, we get to meet a whole host of celebs, man. And speaking of that, we've added more dates on our tour. Just when we were out, they pulled us back in tour. So that is something definitely to talk about for sure.
We're definitely going to hit on that as usual at the end of the show. But right now, we're just starting. We're going to get this one going. This is going to be a good show.
Man, I'm going to tell you now. First of all, allow us right now to introduce to you to our crew, our mainstay crew. Everybody else is a recurring character. So, Larry, I have to give you your just due. In a lot of senses, I am just totally flabbergasted at this point as to the power moves that you did for the better. And I really got to admit. So, and I'll explain to you in a second what I mean. So Thaddeus is part of our crew now. Thaddeus actually is your driver, right?
Yep,
Great guy, very cool dude. I actually got to open up with him. Once I started talking to him about Southern barbecue, all of a sudden his eyes lit up and just became like my best friend once I started talking about that.
Yeah, he's a connoisseur of
nice
that.
Guy.
So,
very nice guy. I mean, so I got to meet Thaddeus. Thaddeus is he drove me to the airport the other day, and in the middle of the trip, we had time to kill because he got me there relatively quickly and safely, very safely. So got there to the airport, and we didn't know what to do, so we went in there and we got Harlow's barbecue. Holy smoke! Let me tell you, I've never seen. It's a kid in a circus. Just had tons of fun, ate. He was very happy with me. So that's one guy. Jeremiah is now moved up as our head producer.
Yes, I did promote him.
Very proud of that.
Yep.
Very proud of that. That kid can now pay off his college tuition, which is a good thing. He was in debt for a while.
Yeah, he showed his chops. He was able to prove to me what he can do with the show. With the production value and his getting everything organized, getting us synced up to be able to record. He's been really nailing it. So I figured why not reward him for it.
Right. At the same time, also want to give our farewell and future endeavor departure to Winston.
Yes, Winston. We did have to let him go. There was. I mean, he was doing good, but there were some issues with the books that weren't matching up well. Like a little bit dipping into the till. So we had to mutually we parted ways. So good luck in your future endeavors, sir.
he now works for another podcasting network doing Lord knows what. I think he probably became a porter or something. I don't have no
you know
idea.
what? Sometimes you got to start again at the bottom and work your way up. Hopefully he'll be able to redeem himself. And but I turned over all the necessary paperwork to the police during the investigation, but I'm not pressing any charges. And he
let's not start that up again.
I'm just saying I'm not pressing charges.
I want to make bygones be bygones.
Giving him a second chance. So I think he'll do good with his second chance.
Right. I also finally met the chief of police in your township.
Yes.
And he shook my hand. He very reluctantly shook my hand, but very nice man nevertheless. And we hashed things out. So I am now allowed back into the township of Merrick, which
Yes.
I'm very, very happy over. Thank you very much, Larry.
No problem.
Larry's making some good strides here. I'm very proud.
Yeah.
We do have to admit that I just received a very tragic piece of news a couple of days ago prior to us recording here. And is that we finally figured out the whereabouts of Huang.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
We were a little worried. I mean, things are starting to get better as far as relations between us and North Korea, but...
Right. Well, what had happened with Huang was that his father works for the government, and the problem is...
Which one?
North Korean government.
Okay.
And what had happened was that the rule, apparently, from one of my contacts was that the families are not to sway away from the family. It's supposed to be a very close-knit, tight-knit family.
Like the Amish.
And, and they found him in somebody ratted him out and found him at Disneyland over at Tokyo.
Really?
So they brought him back to the country, and the poor kid's in prison.
Well, hopefully, I mean, things are starting to get better over there, I heard. So hopefully, yes, he'll have to do his time. Hopefully it won't be as bad as it may used to have been under different regimes. Kim Jong-un, now our ally, maybe. Hopefully we'll see the good and, allow Huang, again, another second chance.
Hopefully. Or else we'll have to write to Mr. Rodman to get him out.
This is true, yeah. Old Dennis there, Mr. North Korea himself.
I would rather not talk to him, but that's a different story. So, yeah, exactly. Oh, he's become a worm, all right. Trust me. But nevertheless, so this week, to cap things off, to really start things in this new direction that we've been going through, our production team. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. And I forgot one other guy. Claudio, I don't know what his name is. That what his name is? Claudio. Okay, Claudio. So we have to add a little bit of a New York accent to saying his name. Yeah. Well, Claudio, he basically is the new intern. The kid has been doing some very good editing with Jeremiah. I'm very impressed, and He's been a pretty good He started off as the gopher. We gave him a couple weeks of a shot, and he worked very hard. So hopefully, he'll be a mainstay, but he's more of a reoccurring guy. We call upon him when we need him. You know what I mean?
This is true. He just started. And also, there's one more intern on my side. I haven't introduced you yet. So I'd like for them to come in. Anthony, here, there she is. Meet Tara.
Whoa.
So,
hi, how are you?
Yes.
It's nice to meet you finally.
She can't be on mic right now because she's actually working the levels and everything like that. But
yes. Tara, I have a question for you. Do you have twins? Oh, I'm sorry.
Soundproof booth, please. Thank you. Yeah, see, she's going to be in the booth again. She's working the levels, so.
Oh, right. Yes. I am alive and attentive and ready to start the show. And oh my God. Anyhow, oh yes, and I'd like to also introduce the head of security, Buddy. Buddy and I, we've had our problems in the past. But he did recognize that I am the Sky Talker Smack Talker Skywalker.
No, not so much anymore, are you?
Well, the man's looking at me right now. It's pretty intimidating, but I know Buddy and I, we're cool.
Buddy has seen some stuff that he's yet to tell me about. So,
all right. Well, I mean, hey, look, I'm looking at the guy, and he's pretty intimidating. So, but I mean, other than that, hey, I mean, I may be a martial art guy, but I would have to think a little twice about fighting a guy who's about 6'6" and about 290, 300 pounds.
Just about.
That's a tall order.
It's a tall drink.
Yeah, no kidding. But we've actually, speaking of drinking, we got to a little bit of that drinking. I gave him a nice little bottle of wine from Franklin Hill Vineyards, and he drank the whole thing in a sitting, and he enjoyed it, and he thanked me for it. So I think we're friends now.
Good. Excellent. And that's what it's all about. It's all about this rebuilding, getting the show back to where it's going to be.
Exactly.
That is going to be a integral part of podcasting in general.
Exactly. So the first thing I need to address is, man, I have got to say, if you are a fight fan, it is last week and going into this week is certainly a huge thing. Because if you don't know this by now, and I know I'm probably reporting a little bit of old news, but Daniel Cormier is now the new heavyweight and light heavyweight champion of the UFC. So he's the second guy. The only other guy is Conor McJackass. And Conor, he had to give up one of them. But I heard Cormier may defend both.
Really?
So now,
but that means he has to keep flip-flopping through weight classes.
Right.
That's going to be annoying.
I'm going to kind of wonder how they're going to work that out, because that's going to be a little odd. But they say that they're going to allow him to do that because his fight career is over by next March.
Oh.
And I mean, he may fight maybe 2 or 3 more times, and then he's going to call it a career by the age of 40. So I guess Dana White's allowing him to do it. I'm not really sure. But if you're a fight fan, let's put it this way. So the man wins 2 titles, okay? And then all of a sudden now, he's getting called out left and right? So, basically Stipe Miocic wants an immediate rematch. Problem is, Brock Lesnar's getting a title fight before Stipe Miocic. So Miocic gets really pissed off, right? Now try to follow me on this one, because it gets entangled like a web.
Mm-hmm.
So Miocic wants a rematch. Daniel Cormier says okay, but he'll do it again. But here's the thing. He calls out Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar calls out, gets called out by Cormier, accepts it for a title fight. Miocic's pissed. So Miocic basically says, well, listen, for a guy who's dope before, all right, and at the same time hasn't fought in the octagon in nearly 2 years. That was the last time when me and you were at B-Dubs, right? The guy hasn't fought. He comes in, gets an immediate title shot based upon his name and his reputation or whatever it may be, all right? And he's angry. So now this other guy, Alexander Gustafsson, who's a Swedish fighter, cancels out and starts a Twitter war with Cormier. Now, Gustafsson wants a fight with Cormier, all right? And then on the other hand, as the light heavyweight champion, now you have Yoel Soldier of God Romero calling out Cormier, all right? So what's a man to do, right? So
he's popular.
Right. And then now there's this other guy calling out Yoel Romero, right? And then basically saying that if he could beat Yoel Romero, he's going to fight Cormier. It's like, what the hell's going on? It's like a million things going on right now and happening, and it's just insanity. Dana Loesch, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Dana Loesch because it's something I heard on the Cornette podcast, but that's a different story. Anyway, so Dana White is what I was trying to say. Dana White is now engaging in a Twitter war with a former heavyweight fighter named Brendan Schaub, who's on The Ultimate Fighter, amassed a pretty good career. And basically they're going back and forth, and Schaub cuts an epic promo on Dana White and basically says to Dana White, look, you'd be nothing if the Fertittas didn't give you a job. The Fertittas being the two brothers who actually started Zuffa and owned the UFC, who just sold it for a lot of money.
Really?
So there's just so much happening right now. I mean, it's insanity, in all different weight classes. And it kind of makes you wonder sometimes, are they writing better storylines than the WWE? I mean, I know that they're not supposed to be sports entertainment, but damn, it's like there's so much dramatics. The dramatics, it's insanity, you know?
Boxing got like that for a while, too.
Right. Oh, now, speaking of boxing, right, what happened a few days ago, right? Manny Pacquiao beats this guy, Lucas Matisse.
Lucas.
Right? And fucking he becomes the world welterweight champion once again. Now, who do you think is the first person he calls out to fight?
Mayweather?
Yes.
Really?
He wants a rematch with Mayweather.
Isn't Mayweather like officially retired now? Like he's got to be
for
done.
the umpteenth time. Yes,
he's retired more than Terry Funk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, you know that Pacquiao has escaped the IRS with owing the IRS about $20 million from that fight, right?
How?
He has not fought in American soil since.
Oh, jeez.
So now he's evading taxes. He's fighting. This last fight with Lucas was in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. All right, and he was. Here's the funniest thing. He's a senator now, right? So who's sitting in the fucking in the seats in that stadium watching this fight?
Who?
Roger Duterte, the prime minister or the president of the Philippines.
Oh, really?
Right, and they basically are saying like, yeah, the guy's a total psychopathic nut, pretty much.
Gosh.
And he's like, oh, President Duterte is a great president. Thank you so much for your support. It's like almost as if he needed Duterte's, okay or his permission to fight. Much so like how Fedor Emelianenko has to get Putin's, okay to fight for some odd reason, or he has to get his permission or his okay. It's really odd. Oh. But now it's like, when you look at that fight, Pacquiao knocked down Matisse in like 3 times and got a TKO in the 7th round, which is the first TKO in his career in over 10 years, from what I understand. Okay. 7 to 10 years. And he looks like he's back in form. He looks like he's ready to go. Now everybody's saying like, who's he going to fight next? By the way, that guy that he fought, Jeff Horn, that Pacquiao lost the belt to this Australian guy, Jeff Horn, in Australian soil, lost his belt to an American. And now they want him to fight Jeff Horn. And then now his manager, Bob Arum, is, okay, let's not go so fast. Let's not call out Mayweather yet. Let's sit down and discuss your career and your future, because people don't expect him to fight much more within about a year anyway. So, but he wants to continue fighting, and it's just the fight world is just insane right now. There's just so much going on.
It's definitely blowing up. It's got its, the UFC, this story with Daniel Cormier and Brock Lesnar, which kind of dipping over into WWE with Brock. Now this thing with Pacquiao. Also, I've been seeing more. I don't know if anyone has the Fight app. I saw they were doing another bare knuckle fight pay-per-view. This time,
yes, that's right.
With women, there was going to be a women's fight.
Oh, no way, really?
So it's really kind of the fight culture, I think, is actually making a resurgence, if you will.
Oh, okay. I mean, it is pretty red hot right now as far as what's happening, and we don't know why, but it's just becoming huge now. So it's in a way, I mean, if you're a fight junkie, if you're a fight fan, it's a blessing, because this is something that has kept people's interest in a long, long time. So it's definitely a good thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then now, with one of the things I wanted to concentrate on is that with Brock losing the title, I mean, should he be losing the title?
Which title?
At some point, the WWE. Well, it's the only title he holds. Yeah, the Universal. I mean, look, you gave the guy a title who's a part-timer. You know, he wants to get back into the UFC octagon. I mean, do you allow the man to carry the championship with him to give him credibility, or do you make him lose it so he can go into the UFC octagon for like as a free agent, free-handed? You know what I mean?
Quite frankly, I think he should drop the title because he just doesn't deserve it at this point. The part-timer being champion is just ridiculous. I'm never a fan, like I've mentioned before, not a fan of part-timer. I think having the title isn't going to make or break what he does in the UFC, because if he fights in the UFC, what's the earliest he would probably fight?
Well, he has to do it by March of next year. So he's going to have to do it probably by the end of the year, or maybe he's going to fight until March at March of next year, and that will be Cormier's farewell fight.
All right, so they have him fighting at SummerSlam. There were rumors that he wasn't going to be there, but he will be at SummerSlam defending the title. I have to imagine that there he will drop the title, hopefully to Braun Strowman. Hopefully Braun will cash in Money in the Bank, and then we'll have the title back on TV where it should be each and every week.
I think no matter what happens, I would say that Braun is going to cash in and win. That's just what I think.
I think so too. We're having the number one contenders match this past Monday on Raw. When you're listening to this podcast, if you're listening to it brand new, when it drops, and we'll talk about that as we get closer. We'll touch on some of that. But I think Brock splitting his time between the two without being Universal Champion, I don't care. Then that's fine. Because I don't mind Brock being a part-timer. I mind Brock being a part-timer as champion. If he wants to go fight in the UFC, that's cool. That gives WWE more credit, gives UFC credit. UFC's getting a lot of credit already in the WWE between Brock and Ronda Rousey. So,
well, now speaking of MMA and pro wrestling doing a crossover,
someone was at the Performance Center.
That's right. Former UFC champion Cain Velasquez was actually in the Performance Center doing a workout. Now, is he signed now? I mean, what's his story right now?
Probably not. The Performance Center, which is WWE's state-of-the-art training facility down in Orlando, Florida, they sometimes will have like a one-day guest come in and maybe show them the ropes or show them some moves. Mostly, I'm used to it being wrestlers, former wrestlers. Some guys who you've never really seen in the WWE. Usually, they end up becoming trainers. But I think in this situation, probably just stopped by. Maybe did a couple workouts. Showed some of the young talent, maybe some things that they can add to their repertoire. I think that's all it was. I don't think he's signing. I mean, he may, but I don't think he's going to be doing anything like that. But do you know who else was recently at the PC?
No. Who else? Diamond Dallas Page?
Yeah, he did a DDP yoga session there down at the PC.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Get out of here. Well, I mean, the man is very, very well respected within that circle.
He's a Hall of Famer.
For him. And I think that, you know what? I would say to you that the WWE should hire DDP to do DDP yoga with their talent, because his program is very good preventative maintenance for a lot of their talent that can actually elongate or pretty much prolong people's careers.
They do have yoga is integrated already into the Performance Center. I don't know if it's necessarily DDP yoga, but I know.
No, but what I'm saying is it should be.
Well,
DDP
I mean,
yoga.
That depends if Paige wants to do that. That's more business on the business end. Be that as it may, Paige was down there. Showed some of his stuff. Did a did a yoga session with the group. So the PC's getting some good guests down there from other walks of life and other avenues.
Yep, that's a good thing. I mean, if Cain Velasquez comes in, does that basically mean that his UFC career is done, or is he now going to split his time back and forth? I mean, because...
Didn't you say he retired?
I don't know.
Oh.
I did not hear anything about him retiring. I mean, he hasn't made an official announcement about it, which means now, is he going to be a full-time pro wrestler and then a part-time UFC fighter? Or is he going to become...
If anything, he would be a trainer, probably. He'd be a coach.
At what?
In the Performance Center.
Cain Velasquez is a trainer.
Maybe not a trainer as much as, like, they have different trainers for different aspects. Not necessarily to train. Like, you have your head trainer, Prince Albert, Norman Smiley's down there, Shawn Michaels, Serena Deeb. Who's the? Oh gosh, I'm forgetting her name. Who's the assistant head coach? Dang it, I can't remember her name. I apologize. But you got your wrestlers down there who do the actual training, but every once in a while you'll get, like, they have, like, fitness trainer, they have a yoga trainer, they have a weight trainer. So maybe Cain, like, he can do more, like, shoot wrestling training or something. Not necessarily fully training him the ropes, just training him here, check out these moves, see if you can, incorporate them into your matches. Maybe.
So, according to his Wikipedia page, he is still an active member of the UFC roster and an active mixed martial art guy.
So then he just did it one time. He just went to visit.
Then again, he has not fought in the UFC since July of 2016.
Wow.
He hasn't fought in
just went
2
to visit.
years.
I don't think he'll make anything of it.
I think he will. I think if he really wants to.
Well, of course, if he wants to.
I mean,
yeah.
I think that he could definitely make a good career. He is a lifelong fan. They could also do a lot of angle material with him and Brock, him and Bobby Lashley. I think he would be pretty good.
Here's the thing. If he would have went down to the Performance Center and actually took part in the training, where he was getting the training, even for a day, like, hey, let me see what this is like, then you could talk about him stepping into the ring. But he was more teaching. And usually when they go down there to teach, it's not really...
Wait, Velasquez was there to teach?
That's what I'm saying. He wasn't there to learn. He was there like helping out the staff.
Oh, I was under the impression he was there to learn.
No. I mean, he may have wanted to see what it was like, but from what I understood, he was there kind of just like showing some of the young talent, like moves and stuff like that.
So does this basically actually solidify Cody Rhodes' concept when he had a Twitter war with Daniel Cormier, saying that when all the wheels fall off, when the wheels start falling off, you go to Hunter for a job?
Maybe. Listen, Triple H is doing amazing stuff with NXT, so you never know. You never know. Never say never in this business.
Now, is NXT compared now, is that considered their developmental territory? Like, is that replacing OVW? Is that replacing FCW?
Yeah. They did that a long time ago.
Right, but now,
they did that like
do you
5
also
years ago.
But I also consider NXT to be its own. I would consider NXT to be its own. I'm not saying federation or league.
It's another brand. It's their third brand.
It is a brand, yes, and it's like an offshoot to the main roster. So I think everybody who's going to be called up directly comes from there now. I mean, unless you're some phenomenal talent like AJ Styles, who doesn't have to spend a second there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, real quick before let me. I just want to. I am slightly wrong what we were just talking about with Cain Velasquez and the Velasquez, excuse me, and the PC Center. This is quoting WWE.com. Two-time UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez stepped inside the ring to learn techniques under WWE PC coach Norman Smiley and participated in a session of DDP yoga. Velasquez also worked out in the WWE PC's weight room and attended last night's NXT tapings at Full Sail.
Okay.
Okay.
That works for me.
Yeah.
Like I said, they could do a lot with him.
Let's see. Lifelong fan of WWE and Mexican Lucha Libre, praised the athletes and atmosphere of the PC. Quote, my experience here has been amazing. I'm just looking forward to being here and learning as much as I can. I've been a fan of the sport since I was a little kid, and now I get to participate in it.
Well, there you have it. There's your
maybe
answer.
He is. Maybe.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot happening. Stay tuned because we will cover what's been going on because it's things look like it's getting the plot's thickening in the fight world and in the sports entertainment world. So definitely be in tune for this. I will also say to you that I did not realize that over the weekend, and I saw this under Mark Mero's page, Masa Saito passed away.
Yes. Yep.
From Parkinson's disease.
Oh, that's what it was from?
I think that's what they were saying he was battling.
Oh, my.
I mean, Saito's a great wrestler. I mean, he participated in that thing in 1995. Was it Starrcade 95 when New Japan fought WCW?
Yes.
In a best of 7?
Yep.
I mean, look, the man was 76 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and he was – I didn't even realize he was 76 years old. That means – holy shit, dude. Then that basically means that the man was born in 1942, right?
Okay.
When he fought Johnny B. Bad in that best of 7, he was 53 years old.
I guess so, yeah.
Holy shit. That's like, oh my God, dude. I did not even realize that. And I also did not realize that he was the one, he later joined the World Wrestling Federation where he teamed up with Mr. Fuji to hold the WWF, or at that time the WWF World Tag Team Championship 2 times.
That is correct, yes.
But wait a minute. I thought that Fuji and Tanaka, Professor Toru Tanaka, were tag team champions, no?
I think at one point they were tag champions in one of those reigns.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because Saito also competed in freestyle wrestling for Japan in the 1964 Summer Olympics. He placed 7th, but, still.
Oh, yeah.
He had it says here that apparently in his Wikipedia is that Saito was in 2000 was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. He died of the complications of the disease on July 14th at the age of 76. At the time of his death, Saito had been training to be a torchbearer for the upcoming Summer Olympics in Tokyo 2020.
Oh, wow. Really?
He was also one of the people that was involved in that McDonald's Ken Patera incident, remember?
Yes,
in 84? Yes. He was, and he was convicted of battery of a police officer and sentenced to serve 2 years in prison.
Really?
So this guy has had one hell of an interesting career in pro wrestling. That's just crazy, man. That is nuts. Our love and respects go out to one of the legends of professional wrestling, Masa Saito. Rest well, my friend. I didn't realize that until actually this morning when I was actually looking at my newsfeed, which, by the way, Jeremiah has graciously handed to me this morning, which I appreciate. Now, let me touch upon something that I know has nothing to do with martial arts, MMA, health, fitness, motivation. Well, actually, in a way, it's kind of motivating for me. Mm-hmm. Larry, I am in shock. I am in awe. I don't know how to explain this in any sense of the word, but good grief, man. What's the best way to describe this?
I don't know. You tell me.
I am verklempt. Okay?
Okay, we had to make up a word. Fair enough.
No, it's not a made-up word. It's a real, legitimate word I heard on Jim Cornette's podcast. Yes, I am verklempt, actually, meaning that I am just in. By the way, in case you don't know what the word verklempt means, fans, listen to this.
Okay.
Verklempt.
Verklempt. Adjective. The definition of verklempt is a Yiddish word that describes a person who is too emotional to speak.
There you go. So I am verklempt right now.
Okay.
Well, I'm never too emotional to speak or to not speak. So let's put it this way, brother. Some little thing that many people don't know about me. I mean, though, unless you are very, very close to me, and I'm sure you know this about me since you've known me for over 20-something years. I'm a huge Hootie and the Blowfish fan. You know that.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
a huge Darius Rucker fan. When I'll put it to you this way, when their debut album, Cracked Review, came out in 1994, that album has sold, from what I understand, over 16 million copies.
Did it really? Wow.
Or something like that, right?
Okay.
And I mean, you're talking about, I'm sorry. It says here, let's see, Cracked Review went platinum 16 times.
Okay.
And has sold easily over 12 to 15 million copies in 1994. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty serious because that was before you could download things and all that other shit.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, Hootie and the Blowfish took a hiatus in 2000. And I've been following their career since day one. Mm-hmm. I'm one of the very few people in this world who owns an out-of-print first CD ever of their first album, Coochie Pop, before they before they blew up in 1994. And who's responsible for that? David Letterman.
Really? Letterman is?
Yeah, because Letterman heard them on the radio one day, and they were just like, who the hell is this? And he got them to sign up to perform on the show in 94. So with Hootie and the Blowfish, in 1994, I was a senior in high school, and it was, in living in New York City, understand that at that time, you have a very dominating three markets of music. Mm-hmm. Either you are a rapper, a rocker, or you basically listen to a lot of like techno type house stuff, right?
Yeah.
There really wasn't any other market for anything else. So if you're not a hip hop rap fan at the time, pretty much you had no place to go. If you weren't a metal punk rock person, you had or grunge, you had no place to go.
Yeah.
And if you didn't listen to like techno, house, electronica, whatever you want to call that style of music, there was no place to go. But for all of a sudden now, in 1994, I saw that Letterman performance that night when they debuted. And once I heard Hold My Hand, I was like, oh my God, this group is amazing. And then all of a sudden now, a week later, I'm in Ferrigno's gym. Mm-hmm. Yes, I was a member of Lou Ferrigno's gym in Brooklyn. Out of nowhere, I walk in there and I'm listening to Hootie and the Blowfish. I'm like, oh my God, this band is taking off huge. So the band was massively huge in the 90s. And then they died down. And then Darius became a country star starting in 2008, around there, right? Now, I can't begin to tell you how many times I've met Hootie and the Blowfish. I can't tell you how many times I've hung out with Darius. I actually did a shot drinking contest with him back in the day.
Really?
We had a Jim Beam shot drinking contest. He buried me. I mean, I drank 11 or 12 shots, and he drank like 16 or 17 of them.
Oh, my.
Right? So that was pretty serious. And, I mean, this is also when I was younger, dumber, and had better knees. But that's a different story. So here's the thing. So Hootie and the Blowfish now plays very, very scarcely, probably twice a year. Twice a year, right? Mm-hmm. But for some odd reason, on July 22nd, all right, Darius Rucker announced that Hootie and the Blowfish will be playing a reunion concert at Atlanta's SunTrust Park, which is the home of the Atlanta Braves.
Oh.
They played. That was the first time that they've ever played in a huge capacity, and Darius Rucker didn't think that they could actually do it, but they did. And the craziest thing in the world was they've never, I don't think in the history of 18 years have they ever packed, maybe 20 years, have they ever packed a massive stadium like this? Because, SunTrust Stadium holds what, like 15, 20, 30,000, maybe more of the Atlanta Braves?
Possibly.
Yeah. And he had doubts because he said that they have never played like that. They were not the main stars of the show. They were the band before Jason Aldean, a country megastar. Jason Aldean came out, and they played all their hits. They played Led Zeppelin's "Hey Hey What Can I Do." Mm-hmm. They played a few other songs that were pretty interesting. But here's the most interesting thing that people went literally gaga over, which is the idea that they had a screenshot of a video monitor showing the front of a Waffle House as Hootie the Blowfish played in Atlanta's SunTrust Park. And they said that I think that it was a live feed of a Waffle House, which is a huge restaurant, very popular in the Carolinas, or in the South, actually. The lineup included performances from North Carolina's native Luke Combs and Lauren Alania, right?
Okay.
And they said, we're old men, but we could still play. And, I mean, they played, again, their best songs. They also played REM's Losing My Religion. So without REM, there would be no Hootie, all right? They played Kool and the Gang's Get Down on it. I mean, they did a lot of things that changed a lot. I mean, and they're also playing August 10th and August 11th at the Volvo Car Stadium on Daniel Island in Charleston, South Carolina. Larry, you should go with me.
I've never been to one of their concerts.
Okay, well, there's a first for everything. And plus, I know the road crew, so we can probably stick with the production.
Do you really?
I really do know the road crew. Hey, I just want to say a shout out to Billy and Will. Squirrel, if you're listening to this, I love you, man. And, we'll get together too. And by the way, his head of security, Darius' head of security's name is Buddy. Go figure that one.
Is it? Buddy, have you ever worked for a music band? No? He's shaking his head no, but I seem to not trust him.
Well, I know the road crew, so I mean we can probably hang out with them and probably get backstage passes or something.
All right, fair enough. That's pretty cool.
Larry, that would be pretty awesome. We should go because August the 10th and August 11th is Friday and Saturday.
Is it?
Yes. So if you want tickets to August 11th and we go fly out there, it will be a great birthday gift.
What? Your birthday's coming up?
How dare you, sir, not know for over 25 years of friendship? How do you not know that my birthday's coming up? Now, just remember, I put you over well in the yin and the yang.
What is that supposed to mean?
When your birthday came up, I made it Mormon Day. Okay? So there's Rusev Day and then there's Mormon Day. You can't tell me I didn't put you over well that day. Do you know how many people responded to our email wishing the boss happy birthday and all that? I expect the same for your star, performer.
Oh, man. We'll talk.
And no, you don't even have to pay me for the ticket. I just want you to come with me to a Hootie concert.
Oh, you're going to pay for it?
Well, I'll pay for my own ticket, yes.
What?
Because Lord knows the network will never pay for mine.
How dare you?
I may be daring, but it's truthful.
I'm sure we have other stories to touch on now.
Oh, I'm sure. I am sure. Oh, and by the way, here's an interesting one that many people don't know. So there is interestingly enough, a one-armed MMA fighter.
Really?
Before we get off this topic, there is a one-armed MMA fighter that signed a contract to fight in the UFC.
UFC, no less.
Yes, I believe so.
Huh.
He's about away from his his UFC dream. So he will basically Nick Newell will get his shot at the UFC contract when he faces Alex Munoz on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series on July 24th.
That's interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's nuts. When is that date again?
I'm sorry, he has not signed an official contract yet, but he will fight for a contract on July 24th.
I gotcha.
Right. It's Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series.
What's that? That sounds new.
So it's kind of like another version of the Ultimate Fighter.
Gotcha.
You know? So that's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
But man, getting back to this Hootie thing, I would love to go. Because they only perform twice a year now?
I have no idea.
And it's going to be pretty cool.
That is cool.
And I've never been to Charleston, South Carolina.
You never
So that would be pretty rockin' awesome. And I don't even know where the Volvo Stadium is.
Volvo.
Volvo.
Sounds like you're saying vulva.
Volvo. I don't know. Let's see here. Let's find something out here.
It's like the car.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay,
so Volvo Car Stadium, Daniel Island, South Carolina.
All right, cool.
Wow, this is a huge venue, dude.
Is it?
It's a pretty huge venue, yeah.
Okay, cool.
You should come with me, man. That's all I got to say. And I just got to figure out how much a flight would be to go out there.
We will talk.
Yes, we will certainly talk. So, I never got to ask you at the top of the week, how's your week been? Top of the podcast, never asked you how your week was.
It's been good. It's been busy, but it's been good.
What's been going on?
Nothing too major. Just doing some stuff with the More of the Same family of podcasts and kind of getting everything in order.
You were on a show, no? This past week.
I was, yes. I was.
Want to tell the fans about it?
Sure. So this past Wednesday, actually 2 Wednesdays ago from when this drops, I was on with Frank Messina from the Better Half podcast. We were on Pinups, Cool Cats, and Comics, part of the Village Connection Network, which you can find on Facebook. We were on a live talk show, if you will, with some great people, Teresa and Dennis. Very funny. Got to talk about the show. Got to talk about the podcasts. A few of them. And actually, Frank and myself will be on again, or we were on, this past Wednesday. So we actually did the show 2 weeks in a row. Yeah.
What was it about?
So we just talked, we were on there promoting the Better Half. I also promoted the Yin and The Yang podcast and the Retro Gamers.
Wow. I'm glad we got a mention.
Yes, everyone's getting a mention. It was just a good time. Just hanging out, talking about the improv class that we did. Well, that Frank did. I did one day of it. And we started talking about, trips, New Orleans trips, what it's like going married versus single, because we talked about that on the Better Half. And then that's actually the story that carries over between the 2 episodes. But go check it out, Village Connection Network. And also check out Pinups, Cool Cats, and Comics. Very, very cool show. And a nice studio, too.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
That's cool. Very cool. So what's been going on in the other 6,000 shows you have on your network?
Well, the Better Half podcast, like I said, we're on the Village Connection Network. We just dropped the second half of our 2-parter of our second fireside chat, where my cousin Eric was on the show, just BSing about life. And this past Tuesday, for the Retro Gamers, dropped our 100th episode of the Retro Gamers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big one, too. It's a giant-sized edition of the Retro Gamers.
And I had nothing to do with it.
You and Frank do the same thing. Just because you're not on the show doesn't mean...
Hey. Who was the guy who came into the show and talked about martial arts and video games and basically gave you one of the highest rated performances that you guys have had in 100 episodes?
We had Frankie Messina, we had Charlie, we had Josh. They were our guests.
And you didn't have me.
No, I didn't have you. No. I didn't have Frank either. Because the two of you have your own shows.
And so do they.
Josh does. The other two don't.
Oh, wow.
But Josh is an integral part of the show. And we thank everybody. We had our mid-year tallies as to how much we've been spending towards the Virtual Boy contest.
Oh, good Lord.
Yep. Anthony Rippo, he dropped about, so far, $600 and something since January 1st. Not too bad.
You've probably dropped about $16,000.
I dropped $1,887.52.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
That since January 1st, so I am losing the contest right now.
Oh, that's nice. Do you really think that he's going to catch up?
Well, whoever spends more money has to buy the other person a Virtual Boy, and if Anthony gets the Virtual Boy, he's already vowed to destroy it live on Facebook.
Oh, that's nice.
In fact,
very nice.
He may even get his hands on a bulldozer.
Oh, my God. Well, so it's nice to see that lots happening on the other shows that I have no involvement in.
Nor should you have any involvement.
Well, thank goodness, because all the commandos and all the militants, all our fans know where it's at, and it's right here.
It is a family of podcasts. All three shows are equal, and we're all here to support each other.
Yeah? We'll see what kind of promotions I'll get this week on the shows.
Okay, well, you listen. Don't listen to the better half. Don't listen to the better half. That was taped like a month ago.
Well, unfortunately, what?
The Retro Gamers, you'll hear the shout-outs. You'll hear the shout-outs on Pinups, Cool Cats, and Comics.
I'm sure. Now, can we answer some questions? Do we have any questions in the feed?
We actually do. Tara, darling, yes.
You want to?
Can you please bring me the? Hold on, I just got to turn my camera off here for a second. I'm having some trouble here with my camera. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, dear. Thank you.
Oh,
dear.
Hey! Yes. You're taking away my eye candy.
Tara, you dropped something.
What the hell are you doing,
honey? You dropped something. Yes.
Oh my God! Wait, really?
Okay. Your camera's off, my friend. You can't see.
Huh?
Thank you. Okay.
What the hell? Why am I seeing a picture of you looking
just
like
close
Kevin
the door
Smith?
when you leave, honey. Close it. Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear.
Well, son of a
No,
bitch.
the jeans do not ride that low. It's trendy. It's trendy. Yes. All right, let me do this.
How is this?
Okay. Hello. Hey.
Son of a bitch.
The camera's working again. All right,
You're a cock blocker. You know that?
All right. So.
Damn it.
We actually got 3 questions that came in. And shall we get right into it?
I need to give myself some therapy here. Oh, okay. I'm seeing a picture of Megan Martin. Okay, I feel a lot better now. Okay, good. Go ahead. Now I don't miss Tara, whatever her name is. Go ahead. Read me the question. So now, from now on, Larry's going to be the one reading the questions, and I'm going to answer them. By the way, yes, Larry took over my email privileges, so I no longer have access to the podcast questions. So he's going to be the one who's going to ask them, since he has access and I don't. So this is not scripted, folks. I really don't know what the questions are, and he's just going to read them to me. So go ahead, Larry.
All right. We have first Justin from Minnesota. Justin writes, what is the locker room culture in professional wrestling? Let me try that again.
Oh! What the fuck? Where's the courtesy and the respect for our fans here?
All right, so we got the first question here. Justin from Minnesota. What is the locker room culture in professional wrestling like as compared to a locker room culture in martial arts competition?
Ooh, okay. So, wrestling in the USW, being back in the NYWC locker rooms, let's put it this way, okay? The way that it works is that it's still considered a very sacred place. If you're not talent, if you don't have anything to do with the show in professional wrestling, don't be there. It's not a social club. It's not a hangout club. It's not just also a place where people, pretty much talk over the moves and the sequences and what they want to do within the match. That's why it's still one of the only few things that's kayfabe to the audience. Nobody knows what's going to happen and all that other stuff. When it's in there, it's amongst the boys and girls. So being the fact that, women have their own locker, men have their own locker, it's not like back in the day. Back in the day, there used to be a heel locker room and a face locker room. So how do you get to know what to do? Well, pretty much what you do is, you go over it in the ring. So since heels and faces don't travel together back in the day, but now it's totally different. So the way that I see it is that it's a locker room where there's multiple conversations going on. Everything that is spoken to is not to be spoken to outside of the locker room. It's pretty much a very, very isolated culture inside. And I'm talking about amongst talent only, or managers being talents, referees, any of the promoters are allowed in there, but not the average fan. Fans have backstage passes, but they don't have access to the locker. So that's probably the only thing left that's kayfabe, literally, unless they're doing some type of an angle where there's a locker room invasion, or something that's happening inside. But that's, again, it's front of the camera and not back of the camera, if you know what I mean, behind the camera.
Gotcha.
In a martial arts locker room, I will say to you now that it's very quiet. Nobody speaks to one another, especially if you have an opponent there. You don't talk to your opponent. You're not going over anything, no sequences, there's no spots like in professional wrestling. So a lot of people, what they do is they keep to themselves. It's very, very cliquish. And what I mean by that is that, let's say if you're the only person there, you have other schools. You may have rival schools that are in the same locker room. You may have, and you also, I have to say this, you have to be on guard a lot. Because let's say you have a guy who doesn't look up to your style or to your school, to your discipline, whatever it may be. They may try to start some crap. And, there's no security there. So you got to understand, when you walk in there, you're kind of walking in at your own risk. Nobody really says anything to each other. If they do, I'll give you an example, okay? When I was in a Muay Thai classes, okay, and we were doing a competition out in Virginia, and I was doing an amateur competition. So they gave me padding and stuff like that, and I found out, and I was talking to, a few of the guys from different schools, just doing camaraderie. So there was, other Muay Thai schools there. This one guy I was sitting next to, I found out was my opponent. Oh. And I had an hour to get ready. And the guy looked at me and he goes, he was a very nice, friendly guy. But once he found out that he had to fight me, he's like, yeah, good luck with that. And now you take that as it's taken as an insult because, you don't say that to somebody. I mean, the most you could do is just you shake somebody's hand and be like, hey, see you in the ring, later, bro, or something like that. But to go up to somebody and say, hey, good luck with that, I
mean, I get the psych out factor, maybe, like he was trying to psych you out.
Right, exactly.
He wasn't a dick.
But, it's like everybody's trying to gain an upper hand on shit. And, you only, after the competition, you may have some heated arguments. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's no ribbing. There's no pranking. There's unlike a pro wrestling locker room. Over there, everybody's just to themselves. That's my point, is what I'm saying.
Okay. All right.
You know?
There you go, Justin. Next up.
Good question, but
yes. Diana from Lockhart, Texas.
No, wait. Before you say anything about Diana, Lockhart, Texas, do you know what that's known as?
No.
Really? You really don't know?
No.
It is known as the barbecue capital of Texas.
Really?
Yes.
Where is it? Like northern Texas, southern Texas?
It's more like central, I think.
Okay.
And it's interesting because there's this downtown Lockhart. There are tons of barbecue joints, literally, that fill the streets. Like nobody else serves anything but barbecue.
Ah, cool.
And I think that there's two of the very famous ones. Blackheart Barbecue, Krauts, and then I'm missing one other one that's supposed to be very well known.
Okay.
But, oh my God,
Diana,
I would be in pig heaven.
Send us some barbecue, will you?
Exactly.
So Diana writes, should women be involved in wrestling, such as okay. Should women be involved in amateur wrestling?
Oh, okay. I look at it this way. If you want to talk about amateur wrestling as in women competing against women, absolutely. It's a discipline that mixed martial arts women use. Mixed martial art fighters. They do wrestling. They take elements of it. There's that. There's also a lot of people, it's look, man, I don't see why there should be a gender limitation. I mean, if the Boy Scouts of America is not going to be known as the Boy Scouts anymore, and you know all about that, right? Why should there be limitations on sports?
It's actually quite funny you say that. I actually got something in the mail from the Scouts, and there was
You're an Eagle Scout, right?
I am an Eagle Scout, and I got a little pamphlet that actually explains how Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts are going to work once they go co-ed.
Really?
Yeah. Basically, I mean, in a nutshell, I know it's way off topic, but in a nutshell, with the Cub Scouts, there will be, especially packs can either still be all boys, they can be all girls, or they can choose to mix the boys and the girls, but the dens, see, what they do is the entire group is called a pack, but then you have separate little dens. That's where you have your meetings of like 5 or 6 kids, maybe more than that. The dens will be same sex. So they're keeping it separate. With the Boy Scouts, which will go co-ed in February of 2019, they're officially going to change their names to Scouts BSA. And what will happen is there will be separate troops. There will be an all-boys troop and an all-girls troop. So again, they're keeping it separate. Everyone will have the same requirements, so none of that is changing, but they will be separate, which that part I think is good. Allowing girls in the Boy Scouts, or now in the Scouts, I have zero problem with that. And same with amateur wrestling. I don't have a problem with girls doing the amateur wrestling. I do find it weird that, because there are no like all girls teams, or at least none that I'm aware of. So the girls do have to wrestle the boys, and I'm not even crazy about, and we all know how it works, but I'm not even crazy about intergender matches in professional wrestling, let alone quote unquote intergender matches in amateur wrestling, especially at a young age when, both boys and girls are going through a lot. Their bodies are going through a lot of changes, hormones are going nuts. Last thing you need to do is roll around with each other.
I would say to you that I think that, but then again, women doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Judo or any grappling art, there's no difference. There's no difference between men and women. Everybody's integrated into the same. Oh yeah,
all right.
There's no difference between men and women when they roll. Now, it's always, for me, it's always been weird that when I'm in a martial art class and I see a female fighting or sparring against a dude, a male fighting, sparring against a female. It's always been weird for me because it's like one time I remember in Taekwondo class, they gave us padding and everything like that, but the women have no chest guards. In the
Okay.
in the 90s, women, it wasn't really normal for women to wear chest guards. And I punched this girl right in her breast, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I felt so stupid, and I was just like, I felt so weird, as like a 15, 16-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what to react to that, Or
I get it.
like in Wing Chun, they teach you palm strikes, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing a drill called Chisao, which is sticking hand, which is a drill. It's best if I demonstrate it rather than explain it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was this. I was teaching in this one class, and there were these kids. And what had happened was a palm strike is somewhat of a normal technique, and I would never pair up the boys with the girls because, I just don't want to hear like, oh well, he touched my chest or whatever. You know what I mean?
He touched my breast.
And then, especially with this Me Too shit going on, hey, I'd rather not, you know what I mean? So I was very, very conscious of that. So as far as to answer the question is concerned, I don't have a problem with women training with men. I don't. However, and I don't have a problem with women competing against women in amateur wrestling, but what I do have a problem with is if women competed against men in competition.
See, I wouldn't call it a problem. It just doesn't.
It's uncomfortable in a way.
It just doesn't make sense. I'm not saying, men will always defeat women. No, there's a lot of women out there who can kick a lot of guys' asses. Ronda Rousey is one, for example. Gina Carano, a lot.
Gina Carano can kick my ass and then submit me and not get up.
That is terrible. And so there are women out there who can definitely hang with the guys. I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't agree with it. But it's going to be out there, so it is what it is. But good question.
That is true.
Good question.
That is true.
All right. So we have our third one. Brian from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Brian writes, what are your thoughts on why WCW lost the Monday Night War?
Wait, it's now W, it's not W?
WCW.
Okay, so why did WCW lose the war? Dub-C-Dub. Okay. So why do I think they lost the war? Okay, I'm going to go very outside the box and play conspiracy theorist. I think that something that has never been addressed within the pro wrestling world is, to me, okay, in my personal view, is that WCW was destroying WWF for, 82 weeks?
83 weeks.
So, 83 weeks, okay. Now, within that 83rd, 84th week, I think this is what brought WCW down, and it went down ever since, is simply the fact that the NBA playoffs were shown on TNT. Okay, this is a time where Ted Turner and his network had made an agreement with the NBA to show the playoffs, right? Because there were a lot of games going on. Now, the thing about it is that based on the fact that he owns the Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta Hawks, right? Mm-hmm. So the Hawks were playing in the playoffs. And what had happened was he basically wanted to showcase that because he figured the viewership was going to be more important. And basically, he put basketball over wrestling. And then after those playoffs games were over, people and they didn't show wrestling anywhere else. This is before Thursday Night Thunder and all that other shit. So you only had Nitro and Raw. And what had happened was, I think did WWE have SmackDown at that point?
SmackDown started April. Well, the first special was April of '99, so it started in '99.
Okay, so the WCW WWE war didn't start until what, 96?
Well, September of '95, because the debut of Nitro from the Mall of America was September of '95.
95. Okay, so basically, what had happened was, in my theory, is that people, because they didn't have Thunder, they only had WCW Saturday Night, which you have to have TBS for that. A lot of people may not have had TBS. I mean, I didn't have TBS when I was when we had that shit cable that we had from Cablevision, right, in the 90s. So if you can't watch Nitro, you don't know what's going on in the WCW world, right? Now, if you're not going to show a show for that many amount of weeks, they did it for like, what, a month or two? People lost interest. And now if you're a wrestling fan, who do you go to? They only have one choice. You only have WWF. Mm-hmm. So people started watching that. And then by the time Nitro came back, all these changes were happening in storylines. People were like, what the fuck is going on? I don't understand. What is this? What's that? So basically, people lost interest. And that's when WCW started going down the drain.
Okay.
I mean, even with the NWO.
I will politely disagree with you on the decline being because of the playoffs. I think that had absolutely nothing to do with it. The decline started
How
being...
can you say that, though? Because if you don't have a show to watch, then
there was still a show.
Lose interest.
There was still... So no one's going to lose interest.
It's called Raw.
No one's going to lose interest in 1 week. So
it wasn't 1 week. It was like goddamn 7 weeks.
Nitro was not off the air for 7 weeks.
It was. I'm serious, man.
Okay. All right.
It was at least 4 to 7 weeks because they were showing playoffs.
Okay.
The only time they didn't show anything was during the NBA Finals, which Channel 4 took over, which is NBC.
That had nothing to do with it. Basically, what happened was it was all internal. WCW started buying up a lot of the core WWE guys. Hall, Nash, Bret Hart eventually made his way over. Hogan was over there. And all these guys were getting guaranteed contracts. So they didn't, and a lot of them had creative control. So a lot of these guys, a lot of the wrestlers were in business for themselves. A lot of superstars have also said throughout the years that the locker room it was not a healthy locker room. Probably because guys were all out for themselves. WCW had the 83 weeks of ratings. They beat WWE 83 weeks in a row. It wasn't until April 13th, 1998, basically the start of the Attitude Era, when Raw finally snapped that streak, and that was the Monday Night Raw of Austin versus McMahon, a week or two after Austin winning the title. And from there on in, that's where Raw dominated. There was a little bit of a struggle in the ratings when WCW won again, when Goldberg won the world title from Hulk Hogan in the Georgia Dome. And even you can put that as one of the reasons why WCW started failing, because that caliber of a match was given for free on Nitro instead of being saved for a pay-per-view. That match would have done huge numbers for a pay-per-view. But instead, WCW was always focused on Nitro and not their pay-per-views, where Raw would look at it as a book, where you had the pages of Raw was the pages of the story, and the blow-off would be the pay-per-view, and then after the pay-per-view would start a new chapter. I think it was that. It was creative control. Vince Russo, the cancer of professional wrestling, he went in there. He started making changes that didn't work out well. And then, of course, the ultimate demise was the AOL Time Warner merger. When that happened, AOL Time Warner was like, all right, we got to start dumping some stuff. Let's dump professional wrestling. And they stopped putting money into it.
But the question at hand is, why did they lose the WCW? Why did they lose the war? But what I think the question is focusing on as to why WCW lost its footing, not so much the war as a whole from beginning to end. Or am I reading it wrong? No,
just why do you think WCW lost the war? I think they lost the war.
Okay. Well, this has always been debated in the wrestling world, all right? Vince Russo going over to WCW. I still think Vince Russo was a spy. I still think he was sent over there by WWF basically to tell WCW, hey, you got sold a bill of goods. I know what I'm doing. Look at what I did for WWF. Let me do what I did for WCW. Let me do what I can do for WCW like I did for the WWF, and we could beat WWF. Because I heard he had a falling out with Vince. According to Cornette, he just walked out and basically got a better deal when he did get the better deal. So he went over there, and pretty much I think that Russo was a spy, and he brought in that fucking abortion of a joke Ed Ferrara, right? And he destroyed WCW and who was basically a JR ripoff, like a JR parody, right? And pretty much he led WCW to its demise because he made it unwatchable and unbearable. I mean, I love WCW because I like the Lucha Libre town, I like the international town, but it was a complete joke. I mean, but then again, if you look at WWF today, if you look at WWE today, they're showing top caliber matches on Raw that should be on a pay-per-view. So you can't fault WCW for showing a free match like that of Hogan versus Goldberg when you've got Braun Strowman fighting, somebody for the title, every week.
Braun Strowman hasn't fought anyone for the title on Raw.
Well, I'm saying like AJ Styles fighting somebody of caliber.
Yeah, of caliber, but he's not defending the title every week. Every once in a blue moon. No, don't get me wrong. Once in a blue moon, yes, the title gets defended on television.
But they have pay-per-view matches on regular TV is what I'm saying. So why is that considered to be such an oddity when Hogan fought Goldberg?
You are completely missing the point. What I'm saying is for WCW back in that day where their pay-per-view ratings were garbage, that match would have brought in money, would have brought in revenue. They lost the war. Really, they lost the war, A, because of some of the talent had creative control, and it was a poor locker room, and B, because of business decisions. The war ended when Vince bought WCW. And the fact that they made, how many pay-per-views did they have that were technically free to attend? Bash at the Beach, the one that was literally on a beach. All the Road Wilds. No one paid entry admission fee. They all watch those for free. That's money going out the door. Because you're not making any money back from the production. You're not going to make it all back purely on pay-per-view. And a match, and a match at the time in 1998, when WCW's pay-per-view was not making money, Goldberg versus Hulk Hogan for the title would have absolutely made them money on pay-per-view, which is what they needed. They needed to make money. No money, they're not running a business. That's what lost it.
Right, but the philosophy of WCW is that billionaire Ted is going to support them no matter what.
Well, that's wasn't true because Ted Turner eventually was ousted anyway, and that's ultimately what led to the purchasing of WCW by Vince.
Okay, but then can you also say this? Can you also say that now thinking outside the box, one of the reasons why WCW had its demise too is because now ECW was coming up. And ECW was rapidly becoming the second biggest company in North America because they were funded by the WWF.
They were paid $1,000 a week, and WCW started raiding ECW's locker room like there was no tomorrow.
Okay.
So that didn't help ECW at all.
No, but ECW kept its popularity though.
Kept its popularity, but it was never. I never considered it number two. I don't think anyone really considered it number two.
You really think that WCW was considered number two?
Absolutely.
No, I don't think so.
Absolutely.
I think that it was. I think that by '98, I think that ECW was at its peak.
ECW was in its stride, yes, but they weren't running like monthly pay-per-views like WCW was.
Yes, they were.
Not monthly.
Yes, they were.
They ran like 5 a year.
No. You sure about that?
Yeah.
Because I thought that by 99, 2000, they were running once a month.
No, not at all. And that's another one. ECW was another one. Well, they weren't part of the war. But no, it's if anything, WCW...
they had all their talent stolen.
Benefited from ECW, absolutely. And ECW started going down the tubes as well near the end. So, but ECW's not part of the conversation. So ultimately, in my opinion, it was poor business decision. It was a business decision, which ultimately put the nail in the coffin for WCW. But I think they were too busy trying to put WWE out of business as opposed to trying to make business for themselves.
I'll agree with that to a point.
So
I just think that also when you have Ted Turner who just doesn't want to support a cause anymore. and the funding is gone.
No.
But if Turner was not funding the cause, they pretty much went down the drain.
Because Ted Turner was gone by then. What part of this are you not hearing?
Exactly.
Okay.
No, but what I'm saying is that when Turner was gone and you don't have the funding for that company, that's when it went even worse down the drain.
It's not even funding. They just didn't have the support, period. They didn't have the support. The company was they were basically being pulled from the lineup. That's what happened. WCW was pulled from the lineup. They had no other channel to go to.
Are you getting this from WWE Network?
No, I'm getting it from pure facts.
From where?
From history. The Time Warner the Time Warner merger, that happened. When that happened, Ted Turner was pretty much he was gone. I think when that whole thing happened, he left Time Warner.
You're not getting this from Wrestling Roundtable, are you?
No, it's fucking look it up.
You know what though?
It's fact. They were not making money.
Turner was
WCW
gone by
lost $62
Turner
million.
was gone by 2001. Am I correct?
2000? Yes.
So then who owned WCW at that point?
Time Warner. The Time Warner AOL merger, when that happened, they bought pretty much everything of Ted Turner's, including WCW.
Okay.
So technically they owned it.
And that's when Bischoff couldn't figure out his ass from his elbow.
He tried
right?
when things went on, when the company went up for sale, yes. Bischoff tried to purchase it, which I think, honestly, probably would have been a good thing. Because he wanted to save it, but what ruined Bischoff was the fact that he couldn't get any channels to air the show. If he couldn't gotten a channel to air the show, he'd have maybe, I don't know about now, but he would have had WCW March of 2001.
Well, Bischoff was just a bad businessman. Let's put it that way.
To be honestly, that is completely wrong because Bischoff when Bischoff was in charge, I'm talking like when he was, like there was Ted Turner and then there was Eric Bischoff.
Right, but
WCW was in the red.
Once that got taken away, it was done.
Yeah, so you can't blame that on Bischoff. No, you literally cannot blame that on. You just said it. It was taken away from him, so that means he had no more control.
Either way, let's put it this way. I mean, it's a dead situation now. Like, when you look back at it.
Well, history,
but I still think that it was still an internal matter in a sense that I still blame a lot of it on the playoffs snapping the streak of WCW. I also blame
hold on. Wait. When are the basketball playoffs? What month do they start?
It's anywhere between, I think, like April to June.
Okay.
April to June, from what I understand.
Okay.
All right. And I also blame Russo for basically going in there and destroying it and turning it upside down.
I'll agree with you there.
Whether he was a spy or not is
absolutely
not the point.
Not a spy.
It's just that I think he is a spy. I mean, I think that he was sent over there by Vince, and basically Vince said to him, "Listen, let's destroy this company. All right, let's bury it to the ground." Well, then if you don't believe it, I think you're kind of nuts yourself because
you do that. You always flip it around and say what I was saying.
Why do you say that?
Because there is no way Russo was done with WWE when he left for WCW. And they gave him just too much power in WCW. Yes, he made poor decisions, like he started doing in WWE. But he wasn't a spy.
I think he was sent there to destroy.
I know, because I don't know what's going on in your head.
Because I'm trying to think outside the box here.
It's okay, whatever. Continue on.
Well, as our pro wrestling residential expert here, apparently, all right. If you really think that basically that Time Warner AOL merger had anything to do with it, it did. But I don't think that was one of the sole reasons for it being going down the drain. I think that also Bischoff had bad decision making, all right, towards the end of it. And then I think that it was a combination of internal stuff that just destroyed the talent.
I agree with you there. With the internal, absolutely.
Other than that.
And just losing money.
But we need that right now. We need like a WCW to put up a similar fight.
Oh,
because
absolutely. Competition is always the best.
ROH is not doing it. I can tell you that much now.
They were starting to, but yeah, they're starting to.
ROH. I've never liked ROH like that. I've always thought that they were a small, independent-based company. I don't think that they were as huge as people say they were. I mean, they're doing well for themselves, I guess.
Oh, they're definitely top 3.
I really don't watch it, so I don't know. I don't watch that shit show called Impact.
I was going to order the pay-per-view. I just didn't have time.
And by the way, have you figured out where the Melrose Ballroom is?
Yeah, it's in Queens.
Oh, okay.
Of all places.
So they're making it sound like
it's
fucking. They're making it sound like it's fucking like New Jersey.
No, they're making it sound like it's like the Hammerstein.
Or somewhere like in like Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, like in the city. No, it's in Queens. And if anyone knows Queens, you know what we're talking about.
Maybe we should have the Bree Combination Wrestling guys just go in there to do a hostile takeover.
Well, I heard I saw some highlights from last night's, this past Sunday's Impact pay-per-view, and actually it would look really good.
We'll see. But I don't think that they have the funding to compete either.
No one is going to have the funding to compete with the WWE. At this point, it's not competing with the WWE. It's just making a really good alternative. No one should compete with the WWE. At this point, they got to make their own brand and their own thing.
Why should nobody compete with the WWE?
Because no one's going to have the money to do that.
Well, not anymore.
Exactly.
I mean, after they've seen WCW as an example, I don't think that that's going to ever happen ever again.
So it's no need to compete. There's a difference between competing and making it your own. You know, you don't want any group that has tried to copy, whether it be the WWE, the NFL, you know, anything like that, the copies never make it. The originals will always survive. So instead of trying to compete against them, you try and make an alternative for people to watch. Maybe not necessarily instead of, but to watch with it. Now, Ring of Honor and New Japan, they may be a company that can compete with WWE at some point. They would have, I think they have the money and the talent to be able to compete, but they're not there yet. They're in Japan, yes. Worldwide, they're getting there. Ring of Honor, New Japan doing a co-branded show in Madison Square Garden the night before WrestleMania is going to be huge. And that is going to put...
Are you going to that?
Absolutely. I'm skipping TakeOver.
Are you?
I am. There is no way I'm missing the first wrestling event that's not WWE and MSG.
Now, what are you doing now as far as WrestleMania next year? It's going to be in New York, so
it's going to be MetLife.
MetLife. So, are you going to that? What are your plans?
Plan on going to WrestleMania. Plan on going to Raw. Going to SmackDown. Do Access wherever it's going to be. And I was going to think about doing a suite, but that's just going to cost too much money. So now it's everyone buy your tickets yourselves for WrestleMania. Sit wherever you want to sit in MetLife. But beforehand, epic tailgate party in the parking lot of MetLife.
Okay. Are the fans invited or no?
Anyone's invited.
Okay.
Anyone, if you see us, we're going to be having a good time. BYOF, bring your own food.
Wow. You mean the network's not going to cover the food?
Not that much food, but we'll grill it. We'll cook it up for you.
Oh, well, true. That's true. Okay, I could deal with that. All right there, folks. So here's the deal.
Oh, actually, I'll talk about it at the end. Never mind.
Okay. So here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have any questions, comments, if you want to say something about what we just discussed or anything that we just discussed, here is the email. It is yinandyangpodcast at gmail.com. Once again, it is yinandyangpodcast at gmail.com. Give us a holler. Let us know what you think. All right. So as we close off the show, before we do, we got some tour announcements for what we call Just When We Thought We Were Out, they pull us back in. So we have multiple dates going on. I'm inching closer to my competition here. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the way that I'm doing things is that I'm running an average of about 2 to 3 miles a day.
Okay.
It takes a lot off of you, especially between sparring, grappling, striking, and then, so it's like a lot going on, man. I mean, my body's taking a beating. I hope I'm not overtraining, but, just trying to do my thing here. For a lot of you who want to eat healthy, I've been roasting vegetables as of late. It's been helping. It's a very, very different concept than anything that I've ever had. It's pretty damn good, actually. I got into my DDP yoga app and I got a very good recipe for roasting vegetables, so that really rocked a lot. Other than that, I could tell you that we have a few dates that we want to announce that are coming up rapidly soon. Besides August when SummerSlam hits, the New Jersey Comic Con, all right, will be Friday, September 21st, Saturday, September 22nd, Sunday, September 23rd. I believe I'm going to attend the 23rd.
Okay.
That's going to be pretty freaking awesome.
I may or may not be there.
Okay. There's also Monster Mania. Monster Mania is going to be – oh, and by the way, the New Jersey HorrorCon is going to be in the Showboat Casino on that weekend. So definitely going to hit up Atlantic City, go have a good time there. Monster Mania Con is going to be 3 days of sheer terror on August 17th to August 19th. I don't think you'll be going to that because then that's when SummerSlam is, right?
No, that's a week later. Wait a minute. Oh, that may be SummerSlam weekend.
Okay. If that's SummerSlam weekend, then I'm probably going to go to the Saturday one, and then I'm going to bypass the Sunday one because I want to go to SummerSlam myself, and then obviously to see some family. But so we'll probably be there on August the 18th, which is the Crown Plaza Hotel in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And then our favorite one, which is the Chiller Theater Expo,
yes,
which is October 26th to the 28th. And they're going to have a ton of stars. And the one that I'm really looking forward to is meeting Ken Foree of Dawn of the Dead. But more importantly than all that, there's going to be a Good Times reunion.
Good Times.
That is not the way it goes.
It went Good Times.
Yeah, but that's not the way it's sung. That was horrible. That was just horrible. Anyway, so other than that, it's going to be. I just want a picture with Jimmy Walker.
Dynamite.
I actually want him to record a promo for us, going, this is your boy Jimmy Walker, JJ from Good Times, and and I listened to the Yin and The Yang podcast, Dynamite. That would be awesome. But anyway, other than that, those are the 3 upcoming dates for us. Do you have anything else added to your busy ass schedule?
As we were recording this episode, I literally added 3 more dates.
Oh no!
To the tour.
What did you add?
I will now be attending NXT War Games this November in Los Angeles at the Staples Center, when War Games for the 2nd year in a row returns to NXT TakeOver the night before Survivor Series. And I'll also be going to Raw and SmackDown after Survivor Series.
You're probably going to kiss Ripple's ass for a room to stay, huh?
No, actually, I'd rather stay in a hotel. Not because of him, I don't want to, just because I'm a terrible sleeper.
Oh, okay. Well, I know about that, but then I don't know about that.
So I'm quite excited. First time ever watching War Games. WWE's version of War Games, but I'll take it. It was actually a fantastic match last year. And, of course, SummerSlam weekend, I'll be there all 4 shows. And it's actually pretty funny. My seats for War Games, Raw and SmackDown are way better than the seats for Survivor Series.
Dad going with you or no?
No, not to L.A., no.
No?
And other than that, I got the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo, August 11th and 12th at the Cradle of Aviation. I'll be there as well. Come check it out.
Is that the other thing that's on a Saturday?
It's a Saturday and a Sunday.
And a Sunday, okay. All right. What's the third date?
I don't know.
She said the War Games and then the Expo Center.
Yeah.
What's the third?
I don't think I have a third.
So it's two.
No, I do have a third. I will not be attending Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory because I will be actually in New York City, not Queens, attending the Mystery Science Theater 3000 30th Anniversary Live show from the PlayStation Theater, October 14th. I'll be going to both the 3 p.m. and the 7 p.m. show.
Is that the show that I couldn't make a decision on whether to go or not?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, fans, I guess we've depleted the resources here. And by the way, Larry, if you haven't yet noticed, this is the first episode I think we've done in which I've actually disseminated the least amount of cursing.
Yes. This is the new and improved Yin and Yang. This is Yin and Yang 2.0.
Really, honestly, it's just that I just didn't have any coffee this morning.
Fair enough.
Or all day for that matter. So I'm running basically on instinct.
Okay. Now I'm running on pure cocaine.
Jeremiah, please delete that. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, I have, you know what? In a second, I'm just going to have Tara come out of there and.
She can't hear you.
Oh, God damn it. All right. Well, anyway. So fans, I believe
actually, not only that, just to let you know, I didn't mean to cut you off, but every time.
Oh, no, you meant to cut me off. Trust me.
Whenever her production door opens, my camera feed cuts out, so you won't be able to see what's happening here.
You are a real blocker,
watch.
aren't you?
Tara, please come in. Tara.
Stop.
Tara,
hey,
please come in.
Stop. No.
Yes. No. I just needed you. Is that plugged in over there? Yes. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I couldn't get up because I'm recording. Okay. Don't forget to close the door, honey. Thank you.
Honey?
There you go.
Is there some type of like a little Harvey Weinstein action going on over there?
Not.
Studio 8? Yeah?
Absolutely
no,
not.
With that smirk on your face.
I've met her girlfriend. Very sweet person.
She has no girlfriend. Trust me. Anyway. So, nice deterring factor there. It's like Raid for the common man in podcasting. But anyway, so fans, we've depleted all the resources. I think it's time to get out of here. So what I ask of you folks to do is to please eat right, take care of yourselves, work out. At the same time, use your left and right turn indicators, be good to one another, and we will see you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Ladies and gentlemen, for my co-host Larry Mormon here, I'd like to say thank you so much. Tally ho!
Nothing's gonna